Hey guys, Kristen Collins, hope you're doing well. Touching in this week to talk about the power of the pause and to see how we're doing in being here now. I just had the opportunity to spend an entire week unplugged, sitting with myself, almost 40 hours, get this, almost 40 hours of meditation. I didn't know that when I signed up for this retreat. And when I arrived for this retreat and started realizing that we were going to be doing a lot of nothing, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'm paying this money to be held, to be in the moment and being, and it was pretty hot. If any of you guys have read my book, Her Phoenix Rising, you definitely know who Heather Christie is. And it was once again my beautiful friend, mentor, guide, executive coach, Heather Christie, who enlightened me to the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I did some pre-work to get prepared for this retreat, was so grateful that my husband came with me, and we found ourselves in upstate New York for an entire week to be sitting in the pause. And I wanted to touch in this week as an outcome to this incredible experience, which just compulated and clarified so many things that we talk about in our shared community, and really diving into the science of the why in the power of the pause and being here now and sitting with self and looking within. I feel like I got a PhD in metaphysics and consciousness and space and connectivity and frequency and energy. It was the most unbelievable week, literally, of my life, and the transformation physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually that I experienced just amplified the message of the power of being here now and sitting and being and looking within. If you're unfamiliar with the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, I highly recommend you check it out. I felt like I was just sitting in the presence of a genius, and the man is a genius, but the way he articulates this information and the power of the now was like no other I've ever experienced. So the takeaways that I wanted to touch in with you on today is why we sit in the now, why we turn within. We talk about the answers that we're looking for are already within inside of us. We talk about loving ourselves. We talk about being interconnected with one another and Mother Earth. There's so many things that we talk about that came together with spending almost 40 hours of sitting with myself and training myself to not be distracted, to not look outside of self for my happiness, my joy, my health, my abundance, and to really get in touch with the feeling that it already is, and understanding the science behind that. So a big shout out to Heather Christie as a thank you for turning me on to this work. A big shout out to Dr. Joe for really holding the most incredible space I've ever been in. And a big shout out to my husband, who came on the journey and equally embraced the unique opportunity. What an incredible blessing. So for today, I want to ask you, how are you doing in your pausing? We talk about Be Love, which stands for taking a breath. That's our B. Experiencing whatever we experience in that present moment. That's the E, experience. And then that period is the pause. And then we move into the L of love, and that's the letting go, exhaling of whatever it is that we experienced in that moment. This was a huge part of the training that I just went through for a week, was really to hone in and zero in on my breath and start turning within and looking within. Yes, experiencing my thinking, my ego, my, what bubbles up, and then going ahead and pausing and not casting judgment on it, but getting curious about it. And contemplating it, and then L, let go and exhale it out, and doing that over and over again. That's work that we're doing together. I now get the science behind the why of that, and in a later video we'll get into that. That's a lot to articulate. But for today, I just want to showcase the power of taking that breath, experiencing the emotions without reacting to them, knowing that we are not the emotion. We are the essence or being that's experiencing the emotion, right? But then when we pause and we ponder our reaction or ponder our feelings, right, then we can release them before we take action on them. And I've had some great feedback about some of the challenges of the power of the pause, the discomforts that bubble up when you want so desperately to get out of the discomfort and create change, or say that thing, or tell that person off, or express yourself. And when we pause and we're not being reactive, but instead we're turning within and exhaling it out and bringing ourselves back to the nothingness, the now, then we can move through the love of O. Letting go is L, and then O is opening our hearts and getting out of our heads into our hearts, so we can have heart brain coherence. Guys, the science that I learned last week about the experience of having coherence, so much of our dis-ease or our disease is based on not being coherent. We're all over the darn place, and that's because we're so disheveled with external things and bing, 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 bing. And if we really want health, happiness, or abundance, it's all about turning within. So I invite you this week to re-examine your pause. Are you pausing? Are you taking a breath? Are you experiencing what bubbles up in the breath? Are you sitting with that in a pause? And then are you letting that go and continuing to do that cycle until you can drop into your heart? That is the key foundational component to our health, our happiness, and our abundance. And I love sharing that information and the journey with you. So we know we find all this within ourselves. The answers we're looking for are not inside of us. Are not outside of us. They are within us. And that we can really, really, really show up from that unique perspective of who we are and why we are when we turn within. So those are the thoughts this week. As always, I'd love your feedback. And actually, I would love to entice you to share your feedback with me. This week, I'm going to offer, for anyone who writes a comment in the section below, I am going to do a drawing next week for folks who wrote a comment, and I am going to share with you a journal that I've created for my community, and it is a journal where I write and reflect every day, and it's probably backwards for you, but it says find it within yourself, and it's a space that you can add your daily thoughts and continue to learn who you are and why you are. So please share your comments. I will be doing the drawing next week of someone and mailing this out to you so that, again, we can all work towards finding who we are and why we are and reconnecting with that beautiful heart from within. So thank you. Until next time, be love. Bye.